If you're thinking of buying a home or moving to Wesley Chapel, Florida, you are not going to want to miss this video because I'm going to break down the good, the bad, and the ugly and give you the pros and cons of living in Wesley Chapel, Florida. And even if you've seen my other video from last year, you're going to want to watch this one all the way through because I've updated it for 2025 and there's a bunch of changes. So buckle in, grab your notebook, grab your popcorn, and let's dive right into it. And like I said, we're going to take a look at all of the pros and cons that I can think about for living in Wesley Chapel. And this is based on stuff that I know as a local real estate expert and feedback we've got from customers who have moved there. So this should be a real complete overview. Be sure to watch all the way to the end. And if you have any questions or you're looking to move to Wesley Chapel, you can reach out to us at the information below. Text us, call us, send us an email, set up a Zoom. We love hearing from folks like you. Now, without further ado, let's go. Now, I want to start by taking a grand look at Wesley Chapel because Wesley Chapel is really one of the most popular suburbs of Tampa at the moment. It's grown substantially over the last 10 to 15 years. When I first moved here, Wesley Chapel was basically pasture land. There was nothing going on out there. And now it's probably the most popular suburb in Tampa. And as a result, that brings some great things with it, but also some not so great things. So it's about 25 minutes north of Tampa, just off of I-75. It's a great location. However, let's take a look at some of the more specific things that might attract you to it or detract from you wanting to move there. Now we're going to start off with the pros, and as you might expect for something that's been growing so rapidly and somewhere that has about 80,000 residents, there's really a lot to do in Wesley Chapel. It's one of the areas that I go to with my family when we're looking for stuff to do, so if that tells you anything. So think of all sorts of different things. So if you like retail shopping, you've got the premium outlets, you got the shops at Wiregrass, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff there as well. It's got really a kind of cool food scene. So we love going to the Crate over there, which is a bunch of shipping containers turned into little independent food places where you can kind of walk around from one to the other, but they have some interesting stores there as well. There's also some really neat restaurants as well, like Pasta to Guy, which is kind of flown under the radar, although it's kind of blowing up a little bit now. So the food stuff's really, really great. If you have kids, or if you're a kid at heart, then something like Main Event, where they have laser tag, they have bowling, they have arcades, and they have some other cool stuff there as well as running some kids specials, is going to be a place you want to check out. They have axe throwing, they have dueling pianos, they have Pop Stroke there, which is Tiger Woods' putt-putt course, which is just absolutely insane and so cool. They have the cinema there where you can get dinner served to you while you're watching a movie. I mean, how cool is that for a date night or a family night out? So all of these things are right there in Wesley Chapel, and I haven't even mentioned getting a day pass to the lagoon yet. So you're not likely to run out of things very quickly, and the great thing is there's more and more stuff coming. So when a bunch of people from other surrounding suburbs choose Wesley Chapel as the place they go to go try stuff out, you know you're onto a winner. Now, one of the other pros, pro number 2, like I kind of said before, is going to be the location. Now, it's right on I-75, so access to Tampa as well as access further north is going to be an absolute breeze. And basically it runs between Overpass and then State Road 56 running east to west. And so that's really cool as well because those are main roads, and so it's pretty easy to navigate around Wesley Chapel, but also pretty easy to move within Wesley Chapel. And if you're someone that's going to find yourself going into Tampa a lot, either for work or just to check out all of the cool stuff that it has there, and I've broken that down in some of the videos as well, then Wesley Chapel is really one of the most accessible suburbs. Arguably, West Chase might be a little bit more accessible, but it's certainly right up there. And it's one of the reasons why it's so massively popular. So accessibility-wise, location-wise, Wesley Chapel checks all of the boxes. Now, pro number 3 is going to be the amount of construction that's going on there. And I know you might be thinking, well, that might be a con, and I'm going to go into the cons of that later on. But the benefits of all the construction is, 1, there's always new stuff arriving in the area. So, like I said, some of the stuff like Pop Stroke and Main Event and some of the other cool things to do are kind of constantly evolving. So that's awesome. But the other great part of that is there's always new homes and new home developments popping up. So if you are looking to buy somewhere there, you're never going to run out of choices. And because the builders are offering the best incentives at the moment, it's one of the places where your dollar stretches furthest. So think about this. If you're looking to buy a home, a lot of the builders are buying down your interest rate. Now, average rate today as we sit here at the end of April is just over 7%, but I'm seeing builders offering interest rates below 5%. And on top of that, they're also offering to pay $15, $25, sometimes $35 or $40,000 towards buyers' closing costs. So it's a great option for people looking for great incentives to make their dollar stretch further when they're looking to buy a property. And like I said, there's always new developments and new home options popping up all over the place. If you want to learn more about these new communities, you can check out some of the video tours we've done or reach out to us and we'll be happy to explain them to you. There's a lot out there to take in. We're local experts, we're happy to help you. But the variety of homes is also something that's pretty cool. So like I said, you've got gated communities, golf course communities, you've got the lagoon community over at Epperson. You have 55 plus areas. You have areas where there's actually some acreage, believe it or not, right in Wesley Chapel. There's also some kind of equestrian-y places just outside on the outskirts of Wesley Chapel. And then like I said, there's those new developments popping up where they're a little bit more nature-centric, where they have, walking trails and they are leaving the forests and wooded areas preserved a little bit more. So great variety of homes across all sorts of price points. Be sure to reach out to us to snag a free list of homes that might be of interest to you in the areas and price points you're looking at. Now, another pro of living in Wesley Chapel, without a doubt, are the schools that are there. So Wesley Chapel's school system is one of the best of any of the areas of Tampa. And it's a real big reason why we're seeing a lot of people, when they start families and get married, move out of Tampa into the suburbs and predominantly into Wesley Chapel. Now, like I always say, great schools and niche are awesome research tools, but I'm thinking John Long Middle School, Wiregrass Ranch High. They're really A-rated schools, and it's a fantastic option if schools are important to you. So be sure to do your research, be sure to find out what school zones different areas are in, but Wesley Chapel has some of the best schools in the Tampa Bay area. And of course, there's private and charter school options as well as homeschooling options there. So like I said, plenty of resources online, but just know the schools are very highly rated in Wesley Chapel. Hey guys, Ross Hardy from the Hardy team at RE/MAX, and you probably know I'm a real estate expert by now in the area. So if you have any questions about Wesley Chapel or any of the suburbs north of Tampa, please be sure to reach out to me. Leave a comment below. I answer all of those personally. There's no assistance, there's no AI. It's really me. Or you can call us, text us at the phone number, send us an email. There's no question too big or small. We love hearing from folks like you. Let's dive right back into the video. So let's talk a little bit more about one of the other pros, which is going to be the physical activities and those kind of related things that you can do in Wesley Chapel. And I've got a list of them here to make sure I don't miss any. So they do have the District Park, which is a really cool place for the community to go to. There's a lot of stuff you can get into there. I've featured it in some of my other videos. Yeah, there are golf courses, tennis courts, pickleball courts surrounding the area. So if that's your bag, we've got you covered there as well. And then, like I said, they have that pop stroke Tiger Woods golf course as well. They have the ice arena there for ice hockey, for ice skating and those things, which kind of might feel out of place in Florida, but it's one of the only ones around. And it's a really cool resource again. They have that lagoon community, which is an awesome feature. But there's also some other stuff like horseback riding and skydiving right on the outskirts of Wesley Chapel, right there for you. And then finally, it's close to a bunch of state parks, so hiking and camping, if that's your thing, you're covered there as well. So a whole host of outdoor activities right on the doorstep in or around Wesley Chapel. Be sure to check them out. And then a couple of other things which might be important for people to talk about is, one, the homeowner's insurance and the property taxes are going to be less than Tampa. So if that's a concern for you, and again, you're trying to make your dollar stretch a little further, you want to be in the Tampa area but maybe can't quite afford Tampa itself, look at the suburbs and look at Wesley Chapel. Like I said, property taxes and homeowners insurance is going to be less than in Tampa in all likelihood. And then a lot of people want to know about the crime scores as well. And while I'm kind of limited as to what I can go into in this video, what I would do is encourage you to check out crimegrade.org, but know that Wesley Chapel is rated an A+ on that site. So all of that to say, if safety and crime is of a big concern to you, Wesley Chapel should be very high up on your list of options to look at. And the final pro that I want to talk about, which might be important to some people, is kind of the younger vibe that it has there. So like I said, we're seeing that movement of people kind of being in Tampa, maybe being in college or university there, and then when they get married, moving out to the suburbs to start families. But even among the suburbs north of Tampa, Wesley Chapel is one of the younger ones, and you can certainly feel it in the vibe. So the median age in Wesley Chapel is 36.7 years old. And to know how that stacks up against some other places, Land O'Lakes is at 41, Lutz is at 40, and Tampa is only at 36 itself, so it's real close to that. The Florida average is actually 42.6, so Wesley Chapel definitely has a younger vibe to it. It's really cool. Even if you're not young, you're just young at heart, you're sure to love the way it feels over there. And then the final pro that I'm going to mention, and I've kind of alluded to it again, but Wesley Chapel's really at the forefront of, I kind of want to say, pushing the boundaries of what these new communities and areas look like. So some of these new subdivisions or communities that are going in are basically going to grow into their own small little townships. Yeah, I think of somewhere like Two Rivers, which is going to be just huge. And although that's kind of officially in Zephyr Hills, the expansion of Wesley Chapel out to the east makes it really hard to kind of decipher where Wesley Chapel ends and Zephyr Hills begins. And as we see that kind of urban expanse, these communities are getting bigger and bigger, and the stuff that they feature inside these neighborhoods or these developments is getting more and more impressive. So definitely check out Two Rivers online. We're going to be doing a video about that real soon, so it should be up on the channel here any second. But they are fantastic, and Epperson Lagoon, which was one of the first lagoon communities, has really paved the way for a whole bunch of other lagoon communities in the area. Certainly they're really pushing the boundaries out there. They're leading the way, and it's really exciting to see. Hey guys, Ross Hardy from the Hardy team at Remax and the Living in Spring Hill, Florida channel, where we feature all sorts of information and new home tours for Wesley Chapel, Spring Hill, Brooksville, and the suburbs north of Tampa. Now, whether you're 9 days or 99 days away from making a decision, please reach out to us with any questions that you have. You can call us at the phone number, send us a text, you can email us, set up a Zoom, basically do whatever you need to do, but we love hearing from folks like you. We have tons of inquiries from the YouTube channel. You are our favorite people to talk to. Don't tell anybody I said that. And we can also send you a free list of homes that might be of interest to you and the price points and areas that you're looking at. There's never a bad time to do your research. There's never any such thing as a stupid question. Reach out to us. For now, let's get back into the video. All right, guys, so Wesley Chapel sounds like heaven on earth, right? But here's the thing, not everything is unicorns and rainbows. And some of the things we've learned from some of the customers we've worked with or people that I know that have lived over there for a while, they tell us that there are some things which could be considered cons and may change your opinion as to whether you want to move there. So I want to give you a balanced view. Let's start talking about those. Now, number one is most certainly going to be the traffic. Of all of the suburbs, it's probably the worst for traffic, and that's because it's been growing so quickly, and like I said, there's over 80,000 people there now. The infrastructure sometimes has kind of been a step behind some of the other development, and it's causing some traffic issues. And even off of I-75, you know, I was going down to the Brazilian Steakhouse in Tampa a few weeks ago, down I-75, and I was driving past the exits at 54 and 56, right around 5:30, and the traffic was backed up so far to come off on those exits. So it might not be as bad as where you're coming from. It's probably not as bad as Tampa or Orlando, but it's definitely worse than a lot of the other suburbs. So I do want to make that clear that traffic-wise, Wesley Chapel's probably one of the worst of the suburbs. Be sure to compare it to where you're coming from as to whether that's going to be a problem for you or not. And then, like I said, there are some cons to the side of all the construction that's going on. So one is that it kind of always looks like there's development going on. It's kind of an eyesore in some cases, but because of all of the new home communities that are going in, they all have some things in common. Most of them are homeowners associations, and most of them have CDDs. So if you don't want those additional fees, it's kind of hard to find areas in Wesley Chapel where you're not going to be paying those, particularly for new development. So the development that's going on there is kind of cookie cutter in some ways because it has a lot of the same features, although it does have a ton of different builders and a ton of different homes, but certainly you're kind of limited as to what the new construction is in that area. And of course, all of these things add on costs at a time where interest rates are high, home prices have risen, insurance costs are going up, and it's just another thing to factor in, particularly when some of the surrounding areas don't have CDDs in some of their neighborhoods. So just take all of that into consideration to know if that's for you or not. Now, a couple more cons that I want to talk about when it comes to the homes in Wesley Chapel, and one of those is that the lot sizes are going to be considerably smaller than some of the surrounding areas. Now, it has been an emerging trend that these newer neighborhoods, pretty much no matter where they're built, are built on smaller lots for the homes. So you might have, for example, as crazy as this sounds, a 2,700 square foot two-story home on a 6,000 square foot lot. And it can make some of the homes feel real tight. And a lot of people don't love that. But when you're in an area where affordability is kind of a key aspect, the developers are trying to make these homes as affordable as possible. And that means in a lot of cases, shrinking down the lot sizes. So again, if you're looking for a home on more land inside these developments, your choices might be somewhat limited. And that can be frustrating for people when they have families or pets. So that's one of the potential cons of the homes there. And another potential con is the home prices. Because Wesley Chapel's been by far the most popular suburb for people to move to over the last 5 years, the home prices as such have appreciated more than just about any of those other suburbs as well. So what used to be pretty affordable 5 years ago relative to some of the other suburbs is now one of the more expensive areas to be looking in. Now, of course, it's going to be lower than somewhere like West Chase or even like Hyde Park and Soho in Tampa, but it's going to be more likely than Spring Hill, Brooksville, Lutz, Land O'Lakes, and some of those areas. So again, it's all relative, but for the suburbs, it is pretty expensive compared to some of the other areas. Hey guys, just want to take a quick 20-second break from the video and ask a favor from you. Please like this video, please leave a comment below, let me know what you think of it, and then please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you can be kept up to date with all of the new videos we release about Wesley Chapel and all of the suburbs in the North Tampa Bay area. All right, let's dive back into the video. Okay, so moving on to what I think is con number 5 at this point, and that is the location. Yep, I said the location was one of the pros, but it can also be one of the cons, because as far as the suburbs of Tampa goes, it's just about the furthest one away from the Gulf. So if you're wanting to go to the beaches, wanting to do stuff on the water, Wesley Chapel is maybe not going to be the place for you. It's pretty much an hour inland, because traffic is so bad, from getting to any of those beaches or any of those water activities. And when you live in this area of Florida, it's such a big part of some people's lives that might disqualify Wesley Chapel for you. Particularly because Madeira Beach, Reddington, St. Pete Beach, Clearwater are literally some of the best beaches year after year after year in the US. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of those? And so Wesley Chapel is more inland, it is further away from those beaches than West Chase, than even really Trinity, Odessa, Land O'Lakes, and Lutz, because they're much closer to the 589 Suncoast toll road. And so bear that in mind if that's a big deal for you. Now, it wouldn't be right to talk about any area of Florida, but Wesley Chapel being one of them as well, without talking about the potential for flooding. And hurricanes and storms are just a con of being in Florida in general, but at the end of 2024, we did see hurricanes Helene and Milton come through and cause devastation, especially along the coastal areas. So anything from Hernando Beach at the north all the way south through Sarasota saw catastrophic flooding. However, inland areas also saw flooding as well. And while Wesley Chapel got off relatively scot-free compared to a lot of the other areas, it was certainly more substantial than what a lot of people anticipated it could be. So maybe not as bad as a lot of the other areas, but as with anything in Florida, I want to be very, very clear about the potential for flooding and hurricane damage. Now, one of the other cons of being in Wesley Chapel might be a lack of culture. So if Tampa or St. Pete has attracted you initially, it might be because of the museums or some of the art galleries or some of the plays and theaters that are down there. Wesley Chapel doesn't have those yet, and so you are going to be traveling south to get to those still. Now, because it's on I-75, the access is pretty easy, although, like I said, traffic can be pretty bad. But like most areas of Florida, it does lack a certain feel for culture in Wesley Chapel. And the final con I want to talk about kind of plays off of that as well. So whereas you have some of these areas in, let's say, Brooksville, or, even over in Lutz, Land O'Lakes, some of those areas which are more established, you have these restaurants that have been around for 40 or 50 years, these kind of hole-in-the-wall delis or diners that are family-owned and operated for this great period of time that are local favorites. Wesley Chapel has some great food options. It doesn't really have any of those kind of kitschy, like local favorites and hole-in-the-wall places because it's so new over there. So I'm a foodie. I love experiencing those places. And so Wesley Chapel, as much as I love going there for food, that's the one thing that I feel it lacks. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for the pros and cons of Wesley Chapel. I hope you found that useful and really well-rounded. I know I threw a lot at you, but I think it's important to give you guys as much information as possible. Now, if Wesley Chapel is still a place that interests you, that you want to buy somewhere or move to, be sure to reach out to us. You can hit us up at the phone number, call, text, you can email us, you can leave us a comment below. However you want to get in touch with you, we're fine with it. Just be sure to get in touch if you have any questions. Be sure to check out our other videos on the channel for new construction tours in Wesley Chapel and the surrounding areas, as well as everything you need to know, map tours, community tours, and other useful information. Until next time, we can't wait to show you around town when we see you. I'm Ross Hardy from the Hardy team. It's time to love where you live.